I would say the reform is a honeypot which works for the foreigners. It has a force of attraction, and if I take you to a different desk of a European CFO type of person deciding where my next joint venture is or where I should invest next, there are three things which have strengthened the US position in this competitive landscape. So it is working as a force of attraction supporting investing in the US. And that's maybe a little bit different than the aspects we've heard now, but this aspect from the practical experience is working. If you are a CFO to decide on where you invest, you look to rates, you look to base, you look to the famous tax climate. How is the audit climate in this thing? And you look to more and more in which political environment are you investing in. And on those things, first rates. Rates have a psychological element which has, from our perspective, grown. So rates, CFOs, the board is looking to rates, shareholders are looking to rates, and there the US have moved the dial by just going substantially, not by small steps like many European countries, by substantially lowering rates, the US have made an impact on tax policy. And that is working if you look to investment decisions which have been happening in the last, let's say, 8 to 10 months. You have the BMW investment, the new SUV production, you have the Airbus decision to go to Alabama, you have the T-Mobile Sprint decisions. All these kind of decisions are inbound decisions in which tax rates have played a role on the, let's put it the honeypot effect. But that has worked. The second thing is you are putting yourself into a jurisdiction which has, through the act, regained the standard setting power in international tax law. That's probably maybe a little bit too high, but the US, by defining in these provisions on abusive tax structures, defining what is the right minimum taxation type of thing, where we should counteract, has come to a rate system between 10 and 15%. And if income is taxed at that level globally, then the US would not go against it by measures like against controlled foreign corporations. And that standard setting power is something where a CFO would think, I'm well advised to go into a jurisdiction where this standard setting power resides. And we will see this happening if we are now discussing, as you probably know, we are discussing at the moment, OECD level, a new global order of taxation, especially for consumer-based enterprises who make their money in the markets, but not necessarily with a nexus to the market, with a connection to the market, i.e. no subsidiary, no permanent establishment in that market. So we are looking for new forms to tax those enterprises. And the most successful enterprises of that kind are in the US. And if I were a CFO of that kind of enterprise, I would feel safe in a jurisdiction where the standard setting power has come back and the US has engaged in this OECD concept and is a powerful player now. And that protection on standard setting is something which is the second element of this honeypot effect. And the third element is what the US does well. They coordinate well tariffs and tax. That is basically they see tax policy and tariffs as a joint element to sustain investment in the US. And if I would invest here and have certainty about tariffs, in addition to standard setting, in addition to a lower tax rate environment. That is an argument which brings me here, and is the third element of this honeypot. So my CFO in the ranking, the US would come out pretty high, and maybe we see a different picture if we go in detail. Where is the point where the two of us probably agree is the sustainability thing. Because if I invest, if I make a joint venture decision on building new SUVs or airplanes or whatever, I need to have a certain certainty that the basis of these decisions stay. And I think there's the biggest question mark around the Act, because on the two elements Professor Ziegler said, the element of political will, i.e. election changes, and the deficit. And you know in the Act you have built-in tax increases. So if the deficit gets worse, there are increases built in, and so the Tax Act probably does not provide a sustainable honeypot. But at the moment, the bees are flying. The bees are flying, and that probably brings me to Professor Shapiro. The bees are flying, but the nearer you get to the honeypot, the more bees are there, and then they stick you, and then you're